You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You've seen that seeing is believing. Your ears and your eyes will be bleeding. Please check to see if you're still breathing. Hold tight, cause the show is not over. If you will, please move in closer. You're about to be bowled over by the wonders you're about to behold here. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Please come inside. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want it? Do you need it? Let me hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want it? Do you need it? Let me hear it.
Welcome everybody to Off the Ropes, your official talk show of the Official Wrestling Museum. We are your host, Angel,
And I'm the Pepple.
and we're here live once again. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. Today we are going to talk about the greatest managers of professional wrestling. Now, there has been 100,000 managers between the indie scenes and WWE, WCW, ECW, and we're going to try touching upon some of them. We have a lot of things that we're going to go over. We are very, very excited that today we are going to announce and debut the new movement of the Official Wrestling Museum. There's a great video coming at the end of this show, so please stay tuned. Before we get any further, I know there was a couple new Money in the Bank winners. Hopefully we'll get to that. If not, we'll touch upon that next week. But all the fathers out there, happy late Father's Day to everybody. As you can see, I'm still wearing my Father's Day gift for my 4-year-old. Happy Father's Day to you. I know this is your first one that just passed, so I hope you had a good time. I know we were talking a little bit about Father's Days in the back and stuff, so it was quite interesting. Again, back to the show. We do 2 shows a week, folks. Make sure you tune in. We have this one and Figures Are Us, which is all your collectibles talk, autograph talk, anything that you need to know about collecting, and also your Q&As. Make sure you send it into the Official Wrestling Museum or to our Twitter account as well, too. Now, getting on to some of the greatest managers of the business, and there's been some greats. Now, again, just like last week, we were trying to talk about the best tag teams, and we had to pick a certain teams. So we don't want to miss people like Terry Reynolds, Mr. Fuji, Sonny, Cloudy, which I was with a few weeks ago, Paul Heyman, phenomenal on the microphone, Slick, Miss Elizabeth, Sonny Ono, the list goes on and on, Sherry Martel, Paul Ellery, the genius. But we're going to just try to touch upon a couple of them right now. And in the coming weeks, what we're going to start doing, instead of doing a whole big collage of different people, we're going to start actually breaking it down. So if we're talking about managers, we might just talk about, say, Bobby the Brain Heenan and have a whole show dedicated to him, because we want you guys to get as much information out of these shows as possible.
Well, one manager that comes to mind right away is a good old classy Freddie Blassie.
Oh, absolutely.
Born 1918.
Yep.
And look a day over 100.
Nope, not at all.
No, actually, to be honest, being in this wrestling business can really knock a person down with all kinds of injuries,
Oh, yeah.
But he held his own.
He did. I actually have an uncle that looks exactly to a T like Freddie Blassie looked. Where I said to him a million times, look, when I put on events, man, you got to come and be a lookalike for him. Yeah. And he just laughs. He acts like him. He talks like him. It is amazing. But Freddie was an individual that was just on a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah.
Entertainment-wise, he did it all, man.
Oh, God, yeah. Not only he did it all, but he was a World War II veteran in the Navy. And a lot of people didn't know that.
No.
I think that's big now,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he also didn't want to come in this company, be known as Classic Freddie. Because of the Navy, he was a Navy sailor, he became a Sailor Freddie Blassie.
Yep, absolutely.
So, which was interesting because not a lot of people know him by that name.
Yeah, and he started training like 17 years old.
Also, a lot of people don't either know myself until I started, talking to people who knew him personally. I didn't know he was a wrestler.
Yeah, he he didn't talk too much about his wrestling career. Remember, back in the 50s, the 30s, 40s, 60s, there wasn't really TV. There wasn't really news outlets. There wasn't nothing like internet like it is today.
Right.
So back then, you know, when you started watching people in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and these TVs, and you're going to these events that's every weekend, you only see him as a manager role. And if he wrestled on a show once in a while, it's like, oh my God, the manager's getting in the ring. But he could hold his own.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
imagine.
He 43 titles in his whole career. Unbelievable. You know, he's feuded with some of the best, the Sheik, Bobo Brazil, Bruto Sammartino, Peter Morales, Pedro Morales, I'm sorry, and Killer Kowalski.
These are wrestlers, athletes that he wrestled or
Those
he
are
managed?
guys he actually feuded with.
Oh, wow.
Feuded with it. But then he turned around and he started wrestling, managing like the Von Erichs.
Oh.
Muhammad Ali he managed when he did a skit with WWE. George Amos Steele, Dick Murdoch, Hulk Hogan, Stan Hansen. Jesse the Body Ventura was one of the biggest names when he came into WWE that he started managing right off the bat. The Blackjacks. He managed so many guys. Hercules Hernandez, that was just actually inducted a few weeks ago in the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. He managed so many talents and brought them right to the top, even Captain Lou Albano, which Lou Albano turned into being a phenomenal manager as himself. It's just... The talent that came through with this guy and the management, it was unbelievable.
And you have to know the business. You have to know the public. You have to know what they want to hear, what they don't want to hear.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because he knew exactly what people did want to hear, and at the same time he knew what they didn't want to hear, and what they didn't want to hear, he spoke right out.
Absolutely.
He made a heel.
Yeah, and especially being somebody that was in the, in the Army, like you said, with the Navy,
right,
and turning into being a wrestler and then becoming a manager, he had so much knowledge of how he could flip things on people.
Yep.
Again, with no internet, no TV really back there, it just made him an ultimate heel manager. It was phenomenal.
It comes back to you have to know your public. You go from Boston, Massachusetts to Los Angeles, California. You have to, without television, without the social media, you have to know your public. And he was one to know.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of heel, one of my personal favorites, good old Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh, yeah. I think absolutely he's got to be one of the best managers, if not the best manager ever in professional wrestling.
Yep, he was... One thing that I have to mention that he's known for is the Andre the Giant.
Oh yeah.
15-year career without a title shot. This gentleman, Bobby the Brain, he comes into the picture in Andre the Giant's life. Within weeks, he gets a title match at WrestleMania 3.
Right.
So.
Well, Vince brought him in 1984, to use him because he was getting so well over on the indie scenes, and people were like, you need to take Bobby the Brain Heenan in. And he had the Heenan family on a lot before WWF, which is now WWE.
Yep.
But he managed some of the greats of the Heenan family, but that was some Nick Bockwinkel, one of the all-time greats that just passed away. Ken Patera, King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant, Haku the Barbarian, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, the Masked Superstar, Harley Race, Paul Orndorff, Hercules again. There was so many, the Brooklyn Bro, Ravishing Rick Rude. But there was something about Bobby the Brain Heenan when he hit the camera, he could work it.
Oh, yeah.
He would do whatever it took. I remember Monday Night Raw, he was trying to get into the building and they banned him. He dressed up as an old woman. Like, he just did whatever he needed to do. Right. His sayings that he had, no matter what this guy did, you wanted to be a part of him. You know, we lost him on September 17th, 2017. A lot of people didn't know this, though. When he was a child, he used to have red hair.
Really?
And he ended up getting sick. He had a tumor in his stomach and stuff. And after he healed from all that, and that was all taken care of, his hair started growing back blonde. So that's a little fact that we didn't know. So he started out with a rough life. Okay, and unfortunately, we all know how his life ended with the tumors again and the cancer again. But he really just grabbed life by its you-know-what, and he ran with it. And we're so thankful that he entered the world of wrestling because without somebody like him, guys like Haku, You know, even maybe Andre the Giant, even though he was so well over.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Once you came to the main spotlight, Bobby just helped push him. It's like Paul Heyman pushing Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just the mouthpiece that everybody just needs to get behind.
Yeah. You know, was he ever a wrestler, Bobby the Brain? Besides being that.
Well, he was. He started out as a wrestler way back in the day, but he found out that he was better off with his mouth than his actions. And if anybody ever watched him when WWF put him in, and we say WWF because that was WWF at that time, it was just so entertaining to see him, and he kind of wore the same thing Andre wore, the one strap coming down. So it was like Andre's little brother in the ring with him. It was kind of cool.
Hey, oh, by the way, AKA the Weasel.
Oh yeah, you can't forget the Weasel.
Which he's probably churning right now in his casket.
Yeah, like you call me Weasel, like what?
A guy who knew how to talk to people and needed something louder. Lord knows why he needed something louder for him. Good old Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart is probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met. We actually have one of the items of the museum. This is a megaphone that he signed for the museum. This isn't his personal megaphone, but like I said a few weeks ago, we tried to get items like our guitar we showed a couple weeks ago that is similar to the different workers and stuff like that. This is a megaphone signed by him, and this is what he used to use. I really don't know. For some reason, he signed it in that one spot that you can't see the signature when you lay it down. Like that? No. I don't know. Well, I don't want to block you. No. But he was very known for the megaphone, and he was known for all his different kind of jackets.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was just something about him that was just great. No. And he used to be a singer back in the day, right?
Yeah. Was in Memphis, Tennessee?
Yeah. Yeah. He grew up there, and then his friend Hillbilly Jim was the one that broke him into the business, saying, hey, Vince, you need to get him in there. You need to do this because this is fantastic. Yeah. And he managed some of the greats, Earthquake, the Nasty Boys, which I think they brought the Nasty Boys to the top. Jerry the King Lawler, King Kong Bundy, Rhythm and Blue, the Fabulous Rougeau Brothers, the First Family in WCW, Jerry Lynn, Brian Knobbs, the Giant, Kevin Nash. He managed so many different people throughout his career, Macho Man Randy Savage, that...
Rick Rude.
Yeah. If it wasn't something for him, just like Bobby the Brain, I think professional wrestling wouldn't have gotten to where it was today because
he was beyond,
these guys pushed.
He was so far ahead of the game that it was unbelievable.
And you got to remember, back then, too, they weren't getting paid millions of dollars.
No.
Okay, flights weren't the cheapest thing back in the day. They were riding in cars still from one town from the other, like they were doing back in the 50s, 60s. This guy invested so much money in his entrance attire, in his suits. Every gimmick that he managed, he had a jacket for.
Yeah.
So that just tells you how much he loves this business, because you can't just go on eBay and buy a cheap jacket for 20 bucks, find a seamstress down the street and make him sell something for $2 like you can back then. Back then you had to turn around and you probably dropped a couple $100. He invested that much into the people he was working with. That tells you how much love and passion he has. We are honored to have that, and we're actually looking forward to doing some things with Jimmy Hart in the coming months, and hopefully we'll have him either here in the studio or at least interview if we're out someplace with them to show here on this show as well too. So that's one of the items this week and stuff. We're happy about that. One of the other guys to me, and it kind of touches close to home because he did a lot of work on his indie scenes around there, especially in the Boston area, is the late great Paul Bearer.
Oh yeah, the guy, he brought a dead man, and made him a fan favorite.
Oh yeah.
Even today, you can't look at The Undertaker and not get a glimpse of Paul Bearer.
No.
I mean, but
they work backwards too. You know, I mean, usually the manager will support the wrestler.
Yeah.
Taker was supporting him. Taker was waiting for his cues for the urn and how they come to life. Paul Bearer really just made that character, and just Taker was just phenomenal with that character. And you know, he managed some great guys. You know, not just The Undertaker. He did Kane. He did Mankind. Steve Austin. He actually managed the Ultimate Warrior when he was under Diego Warrior when he first teamed.
Dingo.
Yeah.
What
did I say?
Diego.
That was close.
Yeah.
Well.
As you know.
But you know, I know you touched upon this with Cassie Freddie Blassie. but he also served in the U.S. Air Force, you know, and he was actually a real-life mortician.
Which is pretty, the irony when it came to his name.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Bearer.
Yep.
Well, his real name was William Moody.
True.
So, I mean, but being the name Paul Bearer and part of The Undertaker, which is the irony in there.
Oh, yeah.
It just fit, it fit.
And he was very good, too, on the indie scenes and the territory leagues wrestling. And he was a very good wrestler. But again, he kind of found himself, he was a better symbol. I won't say mouthpiece, because he cut great promos, but better symbol as a manager than he was as a worker. And it paid off for him. He's in the Hall of Fame for WWE.
Yeah.
You know, we lost him, unfortunately. It's going on 5 years now, March 5th, 2013. Like, it's sad that all these greats are leaving us. And I know everybody can't live forever, but...
Ironically, I didn't know this about him. Being born in Rome, Italy. I actually didn't know this. Captain Lou Albano.
Yep.
I thought he was actually from like the Samoan Islands back in the south. But wow.
They play that off pretty good. He was born in Italy, and then he moved to New York. He was in there for a while. Here's another guy that used to wrestle and became a manager. And that guy, I remember meeting him in person, and you know, you see his beard always, you know, bundled up. But one thing I liked about him is he always had this weird clip in his face.
Yeah, well.
And I always thought, wow, that's got to be some kind of magnet thing. Because I remember when I was a kid, the magnet earrings, and it was like, oh, that's the cool thing to have. Nope, that was through his cheek. And it's like, wow, why would you do that? And he said, well, brother, you got to be different.
And different he was.
And he was. And you know what? It worked. There was nothing like a Captain Lou Albano. His voice just ricocheted through all the walls of the building so everybody can hear. And he was so entertaining. It was unbelievable.
This was one of my father's actually favorite managers.
Oh, really?
You talk about wrestling, he always mentions Captain Lou Albano, this and that. I'm like, my dad's like, oh, whatever happened to him? Well, that's the good old Lord. That's what happened to him.
Well, he unfortunately passed away October 14th, 2009. You know, he passed away in Florida, and he used to like going down to Florida just to get away into, you know, just vacation and stuff, and then he would come back up here. But he won, he led 15 different teams to the WWF Tag Team Championships. He won with the Saloon. He was called the Saloonians. No, help me out here.
Sicilinis?
That's the word. That's getting hit in the head. My speech goes in and out. But he was a tag team partner with them, and they won 2 different titles. The Mob in New York actually contacted them and told them, you need to calm your characters down because we don't like it. Now, that tells you how much passion and how well of a performer he was.
Didn't like his performance or didn't like his aggression?
I think they didn't like that it was reminding them too much of them, and they didn't want to get wrapped into wrestling. You know what I mean? And to me, that's a huge compliment. No, you know, when I work a show, if I go into the locker room and I have everybody worry about how hurt I am and this, that, whatever, I did my job.
No, right.
You know what I mean? But Captain Lou, you know, he managed some of the greats again. Don Morocco, Wild Samoans, Mr. Fuji, which went on to manage himself. Yeah. The British Bulldogs, the Head Shrinkers was probably the latest team that he managed. And I remember when he was out there with Alpha and they were trying to make Farouk, which is not Farouk, I'm sorry, Fatu, which is now Rikishi, wear shoes. And it was a whole big skit that he couldn't wear them because Islanders don't wear shoes. And Captain Lou just brought that to life.
Oh, yeah.
If he wasn't out there, that whole skit that they ran for a couple of months would have just died. And I just, hats off to him. I wish he was still here. This next guy we're going to talk about here, we actually had his hat on the show on our debut show.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of hats, getting my hats off.
It was ironic when they were talking about having this show and they were talking to us. I'm like, we probably should have saved the hat for this show. And they said, well, you probably should have told us. And I said, well, you probably should have told us what your plans were for the following couple of shows. But anywho, this guy here, I know personally. He is a friend of mine. He is a really, really nice, down-to-earth guy. And if anybody deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, this guy, like we said in that show, this guy definitely deserves it. Harvey Whipperman, Downtown Bruno. There's nothing better than this dude here. Nothing at all.
No. Who did he manage that really sticks out in my mind was the late Giant Gonzalez.
Yes.
brought him out big. Not that he needed to stand out more, but the Giant Gonzalez wasn't great on the mic.
No.
But Harvey Whippleman brought that.
One thing with Harvey Whippleman is he was able to bring characters to life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was very skinny. A lot of people don't know, Harvey started at the age of 14.
Really?
He has more knowledge and more in-ring experience than anybody that works for WWE that's ever stepped in the ring to actually wrestle. Okay? That alone should put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But this guy here was able to do so much, go out there, he wrestled, he was entertaining. He was very skinny. He only weighs probably like $150 now, $160. When he was wrestling, it was probably about $130. And he would just get through. He was like a Spike Dudley, but he was entertaining.
Right.
And then when he was able to put against guys, he didn't manage really anybody tremendously big. He had Bertha Faye, Adam Baum, Well Done, the Harris Brothers. You know, these guys, there really wasn't no, oh my God, like Hulk Hogan or
Right.
Macho Man. But everyone they put him with was kind of like, oh, these guys should kind of sink, but Harvey always made them rose.
Right, which he was always the type of manager to keep it steady as a mid, I don't want to say, you need him, but I'm going to say mid-card.
Yeah. And one last thing I want to say about Harvey, you know, he does have a 2-pack for the Classic Superstars 2-pack.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to be able to find that and give it to him, and he's never had that, and WWE should have gave that to him, but never did. Another item that we have here is Terry Runnels' ring-worn dress. This dress here is actually the She-Devil dress from when she went from Melina to Terry Runnels. For when she went with Perry Saturn. Now, there's a lot of great things, and one thing I really have to say, and I'm really, really excited about this, we have a Smile Up movement, a Smile Up challenge, and all you do is smile with your thumb up. Tag more people, spread more smiles than hate in the world, okay? And we want people to tag. Well, what the museum's decided to do is there's so much things happen in the world, bullying, hate, animal cruelty. What they're trying to do is start a movement that everybody can get behind, everybody can be a part of, and we hope that you guys enjoy this video. This is the launching of the movement right here. It's called the Hall of Fame Movement by the Official Wrestling Museum. We hope everybody enjoys it, and we hope everybody gets a part of it. Everybody take a look right now at the Hall of Fame movement.
My best friend gave me the best advice. He said each day's a gift and not a given right. Leave no stone unturned, leave your fears behind, and try to take the path less traveled by. That first step you take is the longest ride. If today was your last day, and tomorrow was too late, could you say goodbye to yesterday? Would you live each moment like your last? Leave old pictures in the past. Donate every dime you have. If today was your last day, against the grain should be a way of life. What's worth the prize is always worth the fight. Every second counts, 'cause there's no second try. So live like you've never lived it twice. Don't take the free ride in your own life. If today was your last day, and tomorrow was too late, could you say goodbye to yesterday? Or would you live each moment like your last? Leave old pictures in the past. Donate every dime you have. And what you call those friends you never see, reminisce on memories. Would you forget your enemies? And would you find that one agreement of swear up and down to God above? That's you finally fall in today was your last day, would you make your mark by mending a broken heart? You know it's never too late to shoot for the stars, regardless of who you are. So do whatever it takes, 'cause you can't rewind a moment in this life. Let nothing stand in your way, 'cause the hands of time are never on your side. If today was your last day and tomorrow was too late, could you say goodbye to yesterday? Or would you live each moment like your last? Leave old pictures in the past, donate every dime you had. And would you call on friends you never see, reminisce on memories? Would you forgive your enemies? And would you find that one you dreamed of? Swear up and down to God above that you finally fall in love. If today was your last day.
We hope everybody enjoys that video that we put together. Again, this is going to be on our website. We want people to get behind it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. There's tons of more managers, and in coming weeks we are going to talk a lot more about different managers. Make sure you check us out this week for Figures Are Us. We're going to be talking about all your Elite series, and get your questions in. You can send them into Twitter, our Twitter account, wrestling_museum. Just drop the G or send it to the officialwrestlingmuseum.com. Once again, happy late Father's Day to everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I know what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go on the officialwrestlingmuseum.com and surf that and see what more stuff I can learn.
That's it.
See you guys.